Hey there, folks. So this is going to be out of the normal sequence of the series. This is sort of a one-off, going to be a much shorter episode. There's been a couple of, I don't want to say bugs, but things that I didn't properly mention in the process of the series that have actually been reported as a problem. Took me a bit to figure out what it was, got that fixed. And actually, there is one other bug that has been reported that I want to get fixed as well. So, the first thing is actually going to be that bug I mentioned. We have a situation where when you are loading in a save game from the main menu, you're not getting spawned correctly. And the reason being for that is the logic I added into our main menu for character spawning doesn't take account into the fact that it may be a save game that's being loaded. So with that, what we need to do is go through and make some changes for that. First and foremost, we need to deal with our game instance. As you can see, I've got a bunch of different tabs, files open here. I was doing this to try and help diagnose some problems. So in our game instance, what we need to do is, and I'm actually surprised, I've done this in every other iteration and I never added this in for the this project. But what we need to do is in our private section here, we're just going to create it as a actually, we don't even need to do it as a U property because it doesn't need to be saved, but we're going to go bool b new game, and we're going to say equals false. I'm going to save that, and then down in our public section, yeah, I think, no, it's not part of the configuration, so we're going to put that down here just below our set current level. It's going to be a U function blueprint callable, and it's just going to be void set is new game. We're going to also add in another one, bool get is new game, and this is going to be a const. Now the whole purpose for this is quite literally like for our purpose of like level loading, player spawning, things like that, is going to be for telling the character spawning logic that it's a new game versus a loaded game. Now, you could do this in the inverse way where it's is a loaded game. The thing is here, well, I wouldn't say my understanding. My interpretation is going to be that be new game. It's going to be more common that people are loading a game than starting a new game. So that's the reason for doing this way. Oh, come on, IntelliSense. Thank you. So that is quite simply what we need to do at a code level to get this fixed. I'm going to save this. We're going to build. And then I'm also going to just quickly talk over the other issue quickly. So it was brought up to my attention that there was an issue where the AI wasn't correctly forgetting the player character. And I had actually spent quite some time digging into this before I created this oversight to figure out what it was that was actually causing the AI to not forget the player character. And that's ultimately what caused this oversight. Is I did some digging, I changed a setting and figured out what it was, and then forgot to cover that setting. Now, I have mentioned it over in the help channel on the Discord, but there is a project setting, and I will show that once we get into the editor, but there's a project setting for forget stale actors. And what that is that tells the AI portion of Unreal Engine that once an actor hits its lifespan. Let me open that up here, AI controller, because that's part of our perception config. Oh, and yeah, there we go. It's starting to launch things. So, but yeah, in here, the perception config, max age. That's the setting there. So that max age is going to be at the point, like once a perceived actor has not been perceived for that period of time, I believe it's seconds, not frames, but it's then going to forget about it. Well, if this setting that I missed covering isn't enabled, they don't forget about it. And then this setting here, this max age, is useless. So what I'm going to do though, just because this is going to take a little bit of time to load in, I'm going to pause the video and I will be back once we're in the editor, and we'll finish off covering this forgotten actor for the AI, and fixing this issue with the player spawn location when loading in from a new game. Alright, so we are back in the editor here. Let me just pull project settings over and I'll cover that forgotten AI. So up in the search, if you just type in stale, you're going to see here it's under the engine AI system. So we're going to open that up just completely. And then top section here, you can see forget stale actors. So from the description, if set, actors will be forgotten by the perception system when their stimulus has expired. If not, the perception system will remember the actor even if they are no longer perceived and their stimuli has exceeded its max age. That was something I missed when I was covering the in the episode where we sort the AI out to forget. I'd done a lot of off-camera investigation and I had set this to true and completely forgot to go over that in the episode. So that covers that portion. Without this setting, your AI actors, I'll rephrase that, are going to pursue you forever. Doesn't matter if you're hidden, you're outside of perception radius, does not matter. With that set to off, they are going to pursue you indefinitely. So now this other one, as I was mentioning, the situation of loading in a save game. So in here, you can see I'm in the persistent level. So this is our base setup. New loads in. We're going to hit new game. Set that to 30 minutes. I'll leave all that off. So in here, you can see we spawn next to the barn. And there's a character. What I'm going to do here is I'm actually going to run over towards these buildings. Apparently I need to sort out my textures because they're apparently 80 megabytes over budget. And I'm doing this specifically so that it's obvious. So in here, if we hit hit 7 to save, now we hit 9, you'll notice we load in here. Close out, exit out of the play and editor, so we're back in just the persistent. We hit play, load game. I'm going to select our default because that is the one we just saved, and we hit load. You're going to notice we're back here next to the barn. And that's the problem that I introduced and I never fixed because I completely forgot about dealing with it. So what we need to do here is open up our main menu level. And is that our main menu? Or is it our dev map? I think it might be our dev map actually. Now I'm going to take a quick look at this blueprint. Then we can play. Yeah, sorry, I was wrong. That is the map that we are loading into. That's this one here. And actually in a future episode, I'm going to move this logic into something a little different. but what we are going to do here, open up our level blueprint. Sorry, I had that off on my other screen previously. And you can see in here, this is where we're spawning in, we're setting our position. And going from there. In here, we're getting our spawn points. We set our start location, and then we're going through and we're spawning the player. Now, with that, it's where we create this problem of we're moving our location. What we need to do is adjust that. So, sorry, I'm going through, my brain's thinking of how I want to do this, and I'm not quite being able to talk. But the first thing we want to do actually is open up our UI for our main menu. I'm just going to open that up here. In our graph, you can see we have new game button start, game instance if it's valid. Going through, we're getting all of this, enabling all our settings, set game configuration, load level, remove from parent. Well, right in here, we need to call that is new game. So I'm going to add a pin here. Set is new game. And we're just going to call that. And then that way it saves that information to our game instance that sets that Boolean to a true value. And that's all we need to do there. And this is the reason why I wanted to do it as part of a only if it's a new game, because it makes it a little easier to deal with. So we go back into our dev map here, and this isn't going to solve it all just from what we're about to do. There's going to be a couple other things we need to do here, but we don't have game instance, do we, in here? Player controller, nope. So from our spawn actor, is that what we're... Actually, I need to check the code on this. I can't remember what we did. No, we don't. Yeah, okay. So I actually think we need to add in another function. Now, what I'm doing here with this cast, I'm using a, come on, thank you. I'm converting it to a pure cast because I know definitively this is our game instance. I wouldn't recommend using this as a pure cast unless you have gone through and you're confident. Sorry, again, my brain's doing 12 different things, so I'm trying to figure this out. So I'm just going to do this. And I believe this isn't going to be enough, but let me just, hop out of a Visual Studio and load game. Okay. Okay, so we're loading the level and then we're iterating through. Go to definition, and I'm going to throw a breakpoint here. All right, so now that we've done that though, let's just quickly cover back on this. So if we are starting a new game, we're going to use the start location from, we're going to set them to our spawn point. And this functionality here is actually what I'm wanting to move into a function later in the series. And the reason being for that is I want to have multiple spawn points with tags and things like that. So anyways, I'm getting ahead of myself. So if we're starting a new game, we're going to use this. Otherwise, we're just going to use a default offset, a default transform with the 0, 0 location, because hopefully our load game logic catches this. So I'm going to close out of this. We're going to go back to our persistent map here. We're going to launch, we're going to load game, we're going to load default. Okay, and note that is hit before. This is what I was concerned about. So, and we're not getting a player character, it's a null pointer. Okay. So we want to expose set player data to, yeah, that's exactly what I was worried about. Expose set player data to, actually no, we want to add a player loaded function. So, all right, I'm going to just stop the editor here. We're going to go to our game instance header, down in our public section, U function, void player spawned. Come on, IntelliSense. Now this is a void. We don't want to pass in anything here. So if be new game, return, because we don't want to do anything. Otherwise, set player data. And I'm hoping this is going to fix everything. So, because what's happening here, and this is because we use an async and I don't have a callback. I want to get to that point, the callback functions, but because we're using a blueprint variant versus a, actually I'm trying to think, load level. I'm going to have to do some thinking on that, but right now this is going to be a quick fix because I realized that it caused a couple of people to think their save games were broken. So I wanted to quickly address this, but I will do some more thinking on this and figure out a better variant. But all right, so we've loaded in there. Let's go back to our persistent level. Nope, we need our dev map. Sorry. Open up our level blueprint. Bring that over. So you can see we've got this saved here. And then from our game instance, player spawned. And let's see if that covers what we need it to do. And again, this goes to show that I do as much as I can on camera, because I made these mistakes on camera. So we should call this twice. Okay, this time around it shouldn't be null. There we go. Okay. We're just going to continue and we should be over. Yeah, there we go. And that was the issue. Because of the way we are doing level loading, which is something I want to figure out, because obviously I'm not doing it in C++, I'm doing it through blueprints. I need to figure out what's going to be the correct way to deal with that and address that streaming issue. But as you can see, we've now actually loaded into the correct spot. We're not standing next to the barn. So I'm hoping that fixes everything for the few people who have had issues with this. As I said, this is going to be a shorter episode. It's not part of the normal release schedule. This is a one-off. I'm not sure what day I'm putting this out on yet, but it is to fix issues with these two problems. I'm going to go back to relevant videos and hopefully add an info card or something. I'm not sure what YouTube's going to let me add there. But going to address that and get that fixed and linked to this one. So as always though, folks, thanks for watching. If you do have any comments, questions, concerns, suggestions, or problems, please feel free to either leave them in the comments below or hop over onto the Discord, and I will try to address them as quickly as I can. But as always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next episode.